Oh, there we go. Yeah. All right. Sorry about those technical difficulties. We'll get started now. This is a meeting for the Historic Landmark Commission. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, no changes.
All right. Do you mind reading the statement?
Absolutely. Okay, good afternoon. This is a reminder that this is an official meeting of the City of El Paso's Historic Landmark Commission. We ask and expect that all attendees are courteous and respectful to each other to ensure a professional meeting. An excessive display of uncivil behavior or being disruptive may require for an individual to be removed from the meeting. And from Chapter 20.28 states, when City Council has adopted architectural and design guidelines for a particular district, those guidelines shall control, provided they are not in conflict with other requirements of the City Code, except that the HLC may approve exceptions to the guidelines in an effort to maintain the historic integrity of an H overlay property, in which case the exception shall control in that particular case.
Great. Thank you, Purvi. Do we have any public comment? Not today. All right, on to the regular agenda. Item number 1 is 945 Mount Carmel Avenue.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Item number 1 is for a certificate of appropriateness for an addition at the rear of a property. And for the Commissioners that were here during the last meeting, this one came before you. It is located in the Sleta Historic District, zoned R4H, residential historic, built in 1942, and it is a non-contributing property. So this is the photograph that we have in our records. And as you can see, not much has changed. However, this was recently purchased by the current applicant, and they are proposing an addition. Now, the addition itself is larger than the original home, and that was one of the points that was brought up in the last meeting. Commissioners, I believe a few of us felt that the scale was a bit too much for the existing context. These were the elevations that were submitted. And one of the options that some of the commissioners had presented was to propose either a flat roof or lower this roof, just something to sort of back the addition off from being so imposing. So they went ahead and redesigned the roof line. As you can see, they're now proposing a flat roof. It is shorter than the existing home. Another thing that we had discussed were windows, the fenestration pattern. They did add a few windows to the facade that's facing Mount Carmel. However, in this particular case, we still feel that the fenestration pattern is kind of missing the mark. We would prefer to see the windows line up with the existing windows, or at least maintain a consistent height. So, with that said, our modifications are that the scale of the addition be reduced to prevent overpowering the existing structure, and that a more compatible fenestration pattern be implemented on the sides facing Mount Carmel Avenue.
All right, thank you, Mo. It does look still a bit overpowering. I'm not sure what we can do to maintain the square footage, but bring down the scale of it in relation to the existing structure. I'll make it long. Yeah.
I believe they're limited on the setbacks.
Oh.
On the. Because they require 25 feet from the back, and I think it's
Oh, it's right at it.
yes.
Yeah, this one's difficult. To achieve that much square footage and not be overpowering is going to be a challenge.
So is the addition just for additional residential space? Or is it looking for a rezoning other than commercial?
I think it's a residential space.
And
Yes.
it's
There's-
just more house?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You have a floor plan, don't you?
It's-
There's only one
yes.
kitchen.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
And we do have the full set of plans if you need to see that, commissioners.
Quick question for staff.
Yes.
Is the applicant in agreement with your recommendation?
So far, yes. That's why they went ahead and redesigned the addition. Initially, they were trying to match the roof line. However, when they were told about the scale, they had no issue lowering it and adding a few windows as well.
Excuse me, can we just
Thank you.
make sure that we have all discussions on the record recorded? Yeah.
Yeah, we can roll it back up. Or pass it on. Kim, do you want to go over what you were just mentioning?
So I think if we made the property wider, the building wider on the property, we could still stay within the setbacks. And then the property is not overwhelmed by this additional piece. It's just part of, it's the same kind of idea of the building, and we can stay within the setbacks.
So if the addition ran parallel to the existing structure,
Yes.
as opposed to
Crossing it.
crossing it in the rear?
Yeah. So it could run parallel, and then they could even wrap it around the back a little bit if they needed to. But then it doesn't look quite so, I don't know, disconnected and overwhelming.
I'm trying to find, I'm trying to find the neighborhood, up here. And I can only find Mount Carmel, like a small strip of Mount Carmel from Give Street to Zaragoza Road.
I believe that might be it. It is a very small street.
So all the blocks there say like 9,000 and 8,000. And it's posted here as 945. But you want to clarify the address? Oh,
Yeah. The address and the item numbers, I guess.
8945,
Okay.
89.
8945. I will remind everyone, we do have to vote on this today. It expires before the next meeting.
Can we see the photos? And I apologize, I wasn't here when this was first presented. Can we see the photos of the surrounding neighborhood? Is there something with a similar addition or something? Like, what do the additions look like in this area? There's not-
Possibly.
Yeah.
mhm.
And it is on the edge of the historic district. I believe
Right.
across the street is not.
Correct, yeah, that's why we didn't take any photos of the properties across the street.
the property with the carport that's next to the.
That's, yes. That's
So I think
directly
they could
west.
go wider and not look out of place with the rest of the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Because although this is a non-contributing property, like, I'm trying to think more holistically of the integrity of the historic district, and this just does seem very out of place with the district itself.
Do you think the arched entry was added? Because that doesn't look like it matches the rest of the house.
I mean, just looking at it from a satellite view, it doesn't look to me that out of character, like it's sort of a hodgepodge in that neighborhood there. I mean, there's a carport next door. My take would be that if the applicant, if the applicant's already made some concessions based on the feedback that we've provided with the roof, I don't really have a problem. And it's a bit of, but I understand it's a bit of a struggle, right? Because some neighborhoods are more homogeneously historic. And so there's a greater emphasis on not breaking the overall character. And I'm struggling to see here where those concepts fit. I'm trying to figure out what is the character of that neighborhood just based on the photos you're showing in the satellite. I mean, there's homes, you know, a couple homes away where the entire lot is covered with outbuildings or additions or whatever. And then right next door, there's a big giant carport. So we don't want to further maybe diminishing the historic district, but at the same time, it seems like there's a lot going on there, and this isn't super out of character with those other properties.
Mr. Chair, I have another question for staff, if I may.
Sure.
What is your all's preference regarding the existing structure? Because it seems to me with what the commission's recommending by rotating it and making it wider, you're actually taking away from the historic value of what you're seeing today. And by pushing this back, I mean, they could do some landscaping to break it up with some trees. It's gonna be less obnoxious, I would think, instead of pushing it to the side and closer to the street. Then that may also affect the parking. I don't know how it would lay out. But it seems like some landscaping might break this up and it would be fine as proposed. What's your preference?
Well, obviously, our preference is that the existing structure be the main structure, that nothing overpower it. I do see what you're saying about bringing it over to the side. That's basically bringing it a little, it's putting it more at the forefront. I think another issue with this lot is that I believe it's 3 lots that are combined. So I think that also adds to the, to the odd placement of the existing building. However, yeah, I mean, I think we would be open to seeing what they could do with an addition on the side. However, as the chair mentioned, this would be the last meeting unless if the owner decides to withdraw and attempt with a different design.
Is the owner here or a representative? Okay.
I believe so, yes.
Do you want to come up and introduce yourself?
And just a reminder, he's a Spanish speaker, so if somebody wouldn't mind translating.
Maria, would you step up? Thank you.
Buenas tardes otra vez. ¿Cómo están? Mi nombre es Eduardo y soy propietario de la 8945. Eduardo Ariel Toledano Rubio.
Do you guys have any questions?
Not right off. I think the front of it was an addition also, so it kind of changed the appearance of the house, and now it's yeah. Yeah.
Bueno, perdón, señor. Señor, es lo que estamos discutiendo aquí o nuestro discurso sobre lo que usted propone, la adición de la casa, como que es mucho más que la casa original, ¿verdad? Y nosotros somos la comisión de historia, ¿verdad? De preservación, ¿verdad? So aquí creo que la mayoría meta es preservar lo histórico del vecindario. Entonces, muchas gracias por hacer los cambios que sugerimos, pero todavía parece que es mucho más la adición que la casa original, que es mucho más grande y como que le quita a lo histórico de la casa original. No sé, y perdón que yo no estaba aquí la última vez, no sé si nos podría platicar sobre por qué propone un edificio tan grande agregarle a esta casita.
No, lo que pasa que la casa es muy chiquita. O sea, la casa de construcción es casi una cuarta parte de esto. Es muy chiquita, tiene unas recámaras muy chiquitas y yo tengo una familia grande. Entonces, en la parte de atrás lo que quiero hacer son 4 recámaras porque nada más hay una recámara de esto, nada más una recamarita. Y pues somos 8 o 9 de familia los que vienen por eso es que nada más, o sea, y atrás en los permisos aquí de la ciudad, me están diciendo que 25 pies hacia atrás, y no lo hubiera hecho para atrás, pero pues si lo hago más para atrás me va a caber nada más una recámara. Entonces, por eso es que lo hice de lado, porque es donde tengo más terreno.
Muchas gracias.
Oh, I was gonna. So, mainly the point here, the problem is not the addition that is too big, is the house that is too small.
Yeah,
So pretty much is
I figured.
and to this point, I think I'm with Commissioner Kirk that we can do something with this addition, like maybe block it up with fencing or landscaping,
That's
just to
what's-
guide it out. So
that might be the compromise, is landscaping. Yeah. Can we require that landscaping plan is presented to staff? Okay, that might be an idea to draw the attention away from it. Sure.
lo que estamos proponiendo, lo seguimos discutiendo, pero sería proponer jardinería, árboles, plantas que más o menos obstruyan la vista a la edición de atrás, para que la casa principal siga viéndose como si fuera la casa principal y la adición no sea más que la mínimo visualmente, que se esconda un poco con jardín, con árboles y plantas. A lo mejor una bardita, lo que estamos proponiendo.
De hecho, iba a poner unos pinos. O sea, terminando, o sea, ya sería decorarla con pinos o sea, algo bonito, porque le voy a invertir dinero y quiero hacer algo bien y bonito, que se vea, pues el lugar bonito, porque la casa está muy fea ahí en la cuadra, porque pues todas las casas están bonitas y esta es la más fea. Pero pues voy a tratar y la vez pasada pues me dijeron que bajar el techo porque la quería hacer igual.
Sí, correcto.
Y ya lo bajé, pero sí puedo poner pinos y de hecho los voy a poner.
Actually, he's thinking about like putting pine trees in there, just to beautify the house.
So I guess what we would require is a plan for that. Just what plantings, what trees.
Entonces creo que lo que queremos es para apoyar la adición, pero otra vez que no resalta más de la estructura o la casa original, vamos a proponer aprobar su adición, pero con el requerimiento que tenga, como explicó aquí mi colega, algo de jardín, para que otra vez que quede resaltada la casa original. ¿Qué le parece?
Sí, de hecho la voy a hacer muy bonita. Quiero hacer los jardines, inclusive enfrente también le quiero poner flores y o sea, el proyecto es de que se va la casa de frente, la viejita, y atrás también, porque sea bonito, una cosa que cambie, porque pues ahí voy a meter a toda mi familia.
Ok, muchas gracias.
O sea, muchas gracias a usted.
Commissioner?
And I wasn't here for the previous discussion. Did you all discuss the architectural styles that are particular to this historic district?
We previously, the plan presented had a pitched roof.
Right, so that's the
Yeah.
like Pueblo or Pueblo colonial or Mediterranean style,
Yeah.
right? Did you all discuss like the colors or the treatment around the windows that make it look more Mediterranean or have those characteristics that are
Not ne-
preferred for that district?
Not necessarily. There weren't very many fenestrations before, but windows. But now there's a lot more windows have been added to it. I think previously it didn't have as many windows on the front-facing portion. But yeah, there. I guess we can get into the colors and stuff.
Well, I mean,
Well,
after what I said before, I mean, I feel like from the questions and the discussion, the commission seems to have the will to move forward with some of the requirements that would come back to us, so I don't want to hold that up. I was just curious as to whether that had been discussed previously. Thank you.
Are we done? Do we want to let him know that that wasn't a question for him, since we're still on the hearing from the applicant?
Sí, una disculpa, esta era una discusión interna
Sí, sí.
acerca de los colores y todo. Pero, todo bien.
Otra cosa, por ejemplo, en la parte de atrás yo pensé a ponerle pinos porque están los dos callejones y pues hay mucha gente en la noche que pues, se junta ahí y todo. Y, pues, ya lo tenía pensado eso. Muchas gracias.
All right.
Do we have any more questions for the applicant?
I don't think so. No?
No.
All right.
Muchas gracias, señor. Ya no tenemos preguntas. Se
A
puede
usted muchas
sentar.
gracias.
Do we have any more discussion, or do we want to make a motion? Motion to approve the plans as presented, with the exception that a landscape plan must be provided to staff.
Second?
All those prior to approval, right? Yeah,
Or permitting?
or permit, yeah. Can we do that? Okay, yeah. A landscape plan has to be provided prior to issuing a permit. Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can we just translate out of courtesy what we decided?
Yes.
Yes, but quick question, can the landscape plan can be approved administratively?
Yes, by
Alright, perfect.
Proby.
As long as it meets the guidelines.
Great. Mr. Hernandez? Ok. Aprobamos su propuesta, pero con la modificación de que tiene que presentar el plano de landscaping a la Comisión Histórica para que se lo puedan aprobar administrativamente. Solamente hay requisitos también ahí. Tiene que tener 50% de plantas vivas, no puede poner solamente pasto artificial, entonces tiene que ser plantas, árboles, y se los presenta a la Comisión Histórica para que le termine de aprobar el permiso y ya pueda ir a sacar su permiso a la ciudad.
Okay, thank you, Mario. All right, guess we're on to item number 2, 4636 Caples Circle. Thank you. Oh.
Item number 2 is a certificate of appropriateness for new construction of an addition at the rear of the property at 4636 Capel Circle, located in the Austin Terrace Historic District, zoned R4H, which is residential historic, constructed in 1939, and is a contributing property. This item actually came in the last time, about 3 weeks ago, but no one was here to speak to it, so we're seeing it again for the second time. Okay? So the item's located in Austin Terrace, as you can see. This is the front of the property, and this is a picture taken from our archives. So this was taken around 2000 or so. You can see this is what the property looked like back in the day. Please notice the windows. especially the window openings. Okay. So the property owner wants to construct an addition in the back, so as usual, we'll go out to take a look. And what we found is that a lot of work has been done on this property, and there are no permits or approval for any of it. So first of all, the windows. The windows have all been removed and replaced, at least in most cases. What used to be what we believe are casement windows are now sliders, which is not something that we would approve administratively, so that's illegal. This one is a picture window. As you can see, it's not operable at all. This is the rear facade where we want to construct the addition. And I want you to take a look at these windows as well. I believe this is the south facade. So you can see that the windows towards the back have been filled in, which indicates probably some additional construction in the interior for which we have no permits either. And here are the windows on the north facade, and they've been completely filled in. Again, no permits or approvals. So the owner wants to construct an addition, a small addition at the back of the property for which there's space. And this is what the addition would be. So it's the shaded area right back there. And ironically enough, I mean, this addition would be, it's exactly the position that we would like to see it. It's in the rear. There are no significant architectural features that we think will be destroyed or altered because of this. It's not visible from the main facade, and it's actually a very small, quiet addition. Now, originally, these drawings were submitted, but again, no permits or approvals. Okay, so you can see that the addition here was supposed to be this sort of rock addition, okay? And you also notice that the windows were supposed to be infill. But again, these drawings were never submitted for a formal permit, so none of this was ever approved. What's being submitted now is this, the elevations for new addition. However, it'll be a very simple white stucco with no openings whatsoever. So again, when it comes to additions and stuff like that, this would be just about ideal. It's in the back, we can't see it, it's not taller, bigger than the rest of the property, it's slightly different material, it's white stucco, we can tell it's not original, and again, it would be ideal. However, if you look at the rest of the neighborhood, you see there are some violations up and down the street, and this is the rear. You can't see this property from the rear, sorry, I take that back, because it would be where this chain link fence is. The rest of the alleyway has mostly rock fences, so you can't see this, but this one would be very, very visible. So we're going to recommend approval with modifications based on the following. Okay. The design guidelines for El Paso's historic district sites and properties recommend introduce additions in locations that are not visible from the street, generally on rear elevations. Locate additions carefully so they do not damage or conceal significant building features or details. It's not appropriate to introduce an addition if it requires the removal of character-defining building features such as patios, mature vegetation, or detached structure. Design addition so it's compatible in roof form, proportions, materials, and details with the existing structure. Design new buildings and their features to be compatible in scale, materials, proportions, and details with existing historic structures. Design an addition that's compatible with but subtly different from the existing historic homes in the district. And design an addition so that if removed in the future, the historic building's form and character-defining features are not obscured, damaged, or destroyed. And the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation recommend that new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work will be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property's environment. New additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property's environment will be unimpaired. And the modifications are that the windows be replaced with historically accurate windows, that the infilled window openings be reopened and the historically appropriate windows be replaced, that no permits be issued until the property is in compliance, the violations be corrected within 90 days, and that accurate drawings for plans, elevations, and sections be submitted prior to obtaining permits.
Thank you, Provi. So the addition itself doesn't seem all that bad?
No, the addition itself is actually kind of harmless,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah, it meets the standards of being
It
out of
really
sight?
does, yeah.
Okay. Was the wood structure replaced too? It looks very new.
Probably.
Okay. What else? We have the two windows on the front and
So-
possibly the front door.
And then we have those.
Oh, and the side
Mhm,
infills.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. And those.
And more side infills.
Provi, can you show us a historic photo again, please?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the wood structure was replaced, but it looks very similar to that. Yeah. And then the windows look like steel windows. Did it get painted?
That was my question.
Yeah.
The masonry itself, no. It's still, yeah,
Oh, it was repointed and it just looks,
it's probably
right,
that, just a
okay.
bad repointing job.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I've always told my students, if you see a red brick building become a white stripe building, you've got a bad repointing job.
all right. Any,
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question for staff.
sure.
Does the applicant understand what your recommendations are? Because it seems that to get him to comply to current building permit requirements, he could possibly spend more money on compliance as opposed to what he's spending on the addition. And I just want to make sure the applicant understands that this could be a really deep rabbit hole he's going down.
We spoke to the applicant's representative and explained the situation.
Okay.
I have a sort of contextual question that may not be appropriate for this item, and you'll tell me if it's not. But this is the second edition on the agenda today, and I'm thinking about the ADU ordinance that would allow by right. I'm just wondering if that's been reconciled with these guidelines.
The ADU ordinance hasn't passed, so.
Well, I understand that, but that was, it may come back, and I'm just curious as to whether it's been reconciled.
Even
So
the,
that
A-
if it does come back,
I mean, it would
we
still
don't-
have to go through historic, ADUs would
Mhm.
have to go through us anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, so even if the ADU was allowed by right, yeah, if it was in a historic district, it would still have to go through your approval for design and things like that.
I have another question for either the chair or staff, or any of the experts on the commission. Is there not further violations, not just to the historic code, but to the building code with having those windows all out, especially if those are bedroom windows?
If you can show us the plans, because there were some plans, but they were not submitted to the city, correct?
Correct.
I don't know
Yes,
if we wanna
that would
expand our
still
scope.
be an issue.
I mean, not that we have purview over that, just pointing it out.
Yes, but yeah, because window permits are required before you close up a window. Exactly, you might be closing up a window that's egress for a bedroom, so that's something that would have had to go to City Hall.
So this didn't go through any permitting.
No.
Also, we found that when people infill window openings, it's because there's some construction going on the inside. And again, no permits were filed for this. So one can only imagine how much work was done in the interior.
Okay.
So I think we're mostly in agreement that the addition is okay, but that there's going to be a lot of concessions to the rest of the house.
I mean, I don't have any questions, but does the applicant want to make any comments?
Do we have a representative? Do you want to come on up and state your name for the record?
Yes, sir. Okay. My name is Luis Salcido. I'm a building designer, and I was the second one. The first drawings are not mine, so I took over and properly designed them. Okay. Dr. Mendoza cannot attend, he's very busy and what have you, so he gave me permission to come in and state, the reason why he closed the windows, okay? This is his email. He's like, okay. Hello, Mr. Salcido. With regards to the windows being removed from the side of the home that face the neighbor's wall, which interfere with privacy, were covered for more than just that reason. These windows do nothing for the facade of the home, which is most charming when viewed from the front. The windows were in the kitchen and bedrooms. In the kitchen, one was below the level of a normal kitchen countertop. The other was small and was intended to vent the kitchen at the time of construction in 1939, before extraction, hoods, and air conditioning. Neither are practical or useful in this day and age. in order to have more counter space and cabinets for a functional kitchen, the decision was made to eliminate the windows. This also enhances the privacy of the house. Who wants to have curtains in your kitchen? Okay, that would be that side. With regards to the 2 windows eliminated from the bedrooms facing my neighbor's home, the same with regards to functionality applies. In order to have less disrupted linear feet, which increased functionality for bedding and furniture. The windows were eliminated. The bedrooms still have 1 large windows each on the front and back. This has also improved privacy in the home. The charm of the home is not all affected by the change. I hope this helps. Now, I had done, a while back, I had done I had designed a historical house, a garage on Elm Street. And Mrs. Pro, Cordova, right? Anyway, I replaced the garage door with the same style. He didn't do, it wasn't an ADU, he just wanted to upgrade. It was an old garage door. So we went and picked that same design with the, with the transoms or what have you. He should have, when he replaced those 2 front windows, he should have gotten casement, and he should have gotten the same design. So I don't think that would be much of a cost, because he's gonna replace the windows. I mean, it doesn't look historical. I agree with that. Yeah, on the left side, he shouldn't have closed those windows either. They look pretty nice, but he could have maybe augmented them. So if he was concerned about the floor linear space, he should have just gotten shorter ones, or just, if there was 6 feet or what have you, he could have made them, he could have cleared, and he could have still gained that ground, if it's permitted. If he feels that they're too deep and they get in the way of his bedroom set or what have you, then just make them shorter, and then just cover it a little bit. And I don't think it would be a big cost. What they did is, I really didn't look at it that well, but if they covered it with rock, then take out the rock, and the concrete header's still there, and replace it, and buy a window that, if you don't like it to reach too low to the floor, just buy one that's not as, it's got the width, so buys 1 by 4, that should be more than adequate too. And that's what I would tell him. Now, the kitchen part, I guess I agree with, it just doesn't function. Although, if permitted, can't we put faux windows? If his argument is that he just can't put cabinets, it just doesn't make any sense, we could put a faux window, put a window, but in the inside cover it. Got like a spandrel glass type?
Yeah. I think we're mostly concerned with the front of the house, aren't we? I mean, the infill is, I have a historic home, and there's not a single wall without a window in the way. You have to work around it.
He can replace them. He can replace them and sell them. I mean, but he has to have the correct panes for it to look, it does look kind of odd, like, whoa. I mean, I'm sure they're high energy, it was just a bad choice of what he picked. It was a bad style. He should have tried to mimic them as much as possible.
Yeah.
That's what I do when, like the previous project that just came, and you never heard of it, but I saw it. It's like, you need to keep the same continuity, level of windows, and
I think we're in agreement there. It should look the same as it used to.
Right. There's pain still, and
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for the representative?
and fixed, or, I mean, if they're fixed and if you want them operable, I mean, they're double pane, low E, they're high energy.
Yeah.
Just lock them, that's it. There's no safety issue, just because it's fixed.
Do you think you'd be opposed to replacing the infilled windows that are on the front half of the house?
I would I would suggest that Yeah, but I don't, if he would, and if it's not approved, then there's nothing we can do. But if I try to give him, some advice and tell him that, once again, if you're worried about it, the windows being too low, then we'll just buy, with their permission, we could just buy them that they're not that long. They don't have that much depth.
That's another issue, because then now the window's not matching what was there.
I think part of what the concern is that there were no permits for any of that, so he would have to
Yeah.
get permits for anything that he's doing. And then,
But-
then we would know that everything met all the code.
Yeah.
Plus, you need window permits,
Yeah,
period, whether it's modern or not, or whether it's historical or not, so.
that's
But-
correct.
As far as egress goes, yeah, he has two big front and back windows. But then again, it's not, because it's not operable. Just thought about that. If it's fixed, then it's not.
Well, I
How are you
mean,
gonna break in? How are you gonna get out in the case of a fire if it's
we've
not
also
operable?
discussed that the kitchen was remodeled, so there's plumbing and electrical, and who knows what. Those
sure.
also require permits.
Yeah, that would be the second part. That would be the
Yeah.
second phase, when approved.
Right.
But, I mean, he's not here, but I'll tell him that it looks kind of ugly, just, you covered the wall. It's like, it was charming, but if it didn't function as well, then pick it up, just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what
Um,
I'm gonna suggest.
Okay.
It's up to him.
I'm getting the impression that we want the windows replaced, the infills taken out, and put new windows in them that match the historic pattern. Is that,
But on the right side, can I make them faux? Like, but on the inside, you can't look out.
Yeah,
Very
they-
quickly, Commissioners, sorry, excuse me, but there are a few things I want to add. We've had requests from property owners before to remove windows, because they are renovating kitchens and bathrooms and stuff like that, and they want to put a cabinet where it is. The suggestion has always, always, always been, don't remove the window, don't hide the window opening. Instead, cover up the window from the inside,
yeah,
okay? Because if you remodel again, you might want that window. That's the first thing. Had that been asked here, that would have been the suggestion given.
oh, okay.
That was never asked.
And-
Secondly, violations spread. I like to say this a lot. They're like a virus, right? One person has a violation, everybody wants them now. And we've seen this happen on several streets in several historic districts. This is just not good.
Yeah.
You need a permit for windows, whether you're a historic district or not. Work was done illegally, we know this for certain. And as we said, we always ask people to just hide the window and please don't create any more violations, because then your neighbor's gonna start doing that too.
Okay.
Trickle effect.
I don't have any more questions for the applicant's representative, but I have a comment when he's excused.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Wanted to make sure you understood that. You were asking whether you could remove the rock that's covering where the window was, right?
It wouldn't be structurally unsafe.
But just want to make sure you understood. What I heard was, we want the window there. You can't put a faux window in, but you could just cover it from the inside. Is that correct? I just want to make sure you understood that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If that, but I would suggest, yeah, put it back. But with the historics department, I say, well, why don't you just put it back, and if it's the privacy issue or what have you, we'll buy some blinds, and if we could pick it up just a little bit more,
So,
Because they look kind of staggered anyway. They're not uniform.
I think we're,
if I may.
yeah,
So I think that the best recourse and maybe the best advice you can provide your client is to follow the process for permitting so that he avoids any violations in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
And any changes to the historic structure need to be brought to staff to review. And they can better guide you as to what is acceptable, and they will bring to us what they cannot approve administratively. But I think that that is key. And maybe to go back to the starting point of, you need to go through the permitting process for any type of changes to windows or anything that requires a permit, because that avoids all this heartache and expense.
Okay.
and we do have to vote on this one today. It is also expiring.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So what we're doing is we're recommending the staff's recommendation, so all the windows are replaced with historically accurate windows and that the infilled window openings be reopened and replaced with historically appropriate windows, and no permits be issued until the property is in compliance. This needs to be corrected within 90 days. If you plan to cover them up on the inside, that's something else. We're only worried about the outside.
Okay. Not in the bedrooms. The bedrooms, the front ones have to be operable.
Yeah.
I know that.
That's correct.
Yeah, and if, I'm sure after the meeting it's recorded or what have you, then if you could give me the laundry list, and then I'll go present it to them and tell them this is what.
Okay. You'll receive a letter.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.
I'm missing. Something happened weird here with the sheets. Item number 3 is 416 Canal Road.
This item is a certificate of appropriateness for installation of sash windows on the main facade at 416 Canal Road, which is located in the Chihuahuita Historic District. It's zoned SRRH, which is Special Residential Revitalization District / Historic. It was constructed in 1947 and is contributing. So this is the home. This is the picture that was taken about 2000 or so, and it's changed a little bit since then. But you notice it's very typical of Chihuahuita. You have a one-story stucco structure, you have some casement windows, you have an entrance that's very homey. It's very, very much characteristic of the district. This is the building now. The owner basically wants to be able to open his windows. And he said with the gates in front, he can't, they're casement, so he'd like something that's a little easier for him, and he's proposing sash windows. Now, the district is very small, as you may have noticed. Okay. This is the kind of window he'd like, again, just for air circulation, what have you. And he hasn't proposed removing the grills from the front, and I suspect that that's a safety issue. Yeah, very much so. So on the one hand, if he were to remove the railings, that would be fine. The window, of course, would be a lot more operable, but I think he wants to protect his home and himself in the process. And this is the area, surrounding area. So this is a very tough one because Chihuahuita is a very small district. It's a very special district. It's very significant. It has very much its own characteristics. And casement windows are very much common. This is what you normally see with these types of structures. But again, in this case, it's a hard sell, but it's a district. So basically, what we're recommending is the following. The Chihuahuita Historic District Design Guidelines recommend that windows should be repaired rather than replaced. In most cases, this will simply entail removing old paint, installing new weather stripping, and then repairing. If windows are damaged beyond repair, replacement windows should match the type, style, material, and finish of the original. Do not plug, cover, and/or widen windows if they are on the exterior walls of the original structure. In Chihuahuita, however, window treatment is usually basic and less ornate. Frames, lintels, and sills should preferably be constructed of wood. Metal alternatives may be used to finish, and the finish must be in character with the overall appearance of the structure and adequately complement its style. The Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation recommend that the historic character of a property will be retained and preserved. The removal of its distinctive materials or alteration of features, spaces, and spatial relationships that characterize a property will be avoided. Distinctive materials, features, finishes, and construction techniques, or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a property will be preserved. And deteriorated historic features will be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature will match the old in design, color, texture, and where possible materials. Replacement of missing features will be substantiated by documentary and physical evidence. And honestly, the modification is just that the new windows match the historic windows.
Great. Thank you, Provi. So if they're casement windows, can they open to the inside? Would that be acceptable?
I'd have to ask, well, the owner's here. And by the way, Mario, I might have to ask you to translate. Okay. If they did open to the interior, I think possibly that would be a good alternative for him. But we also know that replacement casement windows are incredibly expensive. Windows themselves are expensive. Casements are just that much more so.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to ask people. And many times with casement windows, they'll say, well, you know, when it comes to safety, these are very difficult. You know, someone said to me, if a firefighter with a pack can't get through that window, then yeah, you're in a lot of trouble. So when it comes to casement windows, what we've actually had people do every once in a while is instead of having what they call a double leaf casement, which opens this way, we ask them to put in a single leaf.
Okay.
It looks like a double leaf, it just operates as one. But again, that's also quite expensive.
Okay.
Chihuahuita is not a rich neighborhood, let's be honest. It does have some beautiful characteristics. It's a beautiful neighborhood. But in this case, it's a tough balance. On the one hand, I understand the property owner wants what he wants. and his safety is an issue, but on the other, this is a historic district.
Commissioner?
So I love casement windows. I've replaced them on a previous home, and it is expensive. And we did do like the single, whatever. It wasn't a historic district. But I'm wondering, and what the commission and staff thinks of a 4/4 stash window. You would have similar grading, but it wouldn't be the original operation. So I know that we're not in line at that point, but that may be the middle ground to preserve some of the aesthetic of the facade, like the look, and serve for circulation and meet what the owner is proposing and his goal without having to remove the bars.
I think that's a very good compromise. It's a compromise that the commission has made before with some property owners, which is okay. The operation may be a little different, but maybe the look of it can be a little closer to this than before.
Okay. Do we want to bring up the representative? All right. Go ahead and state your name for the record.
I can speak in English or Spanish. Yeah. Well, I've been living there at Chihuahuita since I'm
Sir, your
75
name?
years
Señor,
old.
señor, su nombre?
Huh?
Su nombre, por favor.
Antonio Jurado. And what I wanted to do is just change the windows going up and down because I can't open them. And they're so old, they're stuck to the, you can't open them. So that's what I wanted to do, both those sides, change the window, but nothing else, just windows that can go up and down, so I can open them.
Do you want to explain your
Sure.
compromise?
So-
One of the old pictures.
So I know that you're proposing this, which is like 1 square over 1 square, right?
Yeah.
So what we're concerned with is the historical integrity of the property, right? Like, we want to keep the historic design and feel of the house. So would you be opposed to, instead of just like 1/1, like 1 square over 1 square on the up and down window, doing 4/4? So you still have like the little squares, so it kind of looks like the existing one, but it opens up and down.
What do you mean, the top, leave the top one?
So can we like show up?
Because it's a
So yes, but instead of, I think Isaac's gonna illustrate it for me. So,
Essentially, they want to just put a frame on the top and bottom, but it would be the same. They sell them like this. You could order them with essentially crossed in them over the top, or you can add a frame on it after the fact.
You mean, this one, we have this one, but they can still go up and down?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine, as long as you can open it, because I can open.
Yeah, it would operate the same way, but you would look kind of like the old one.
Okay, you don't want to. As long as I can open.
so this is the stack, but it has four. So it looks from the street like it's but it's tiny.
So I spoke with Mr. Salcedo. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Mr. Jurado, he's okay with the 4/4 as long as it operates the same way. Is anybody opposed to that?
No.
The only thing that's required of that is that the frame has to be on the outside of the window. It gives it more of a more depth. It gives it a look. But you should be able to get your window installer to do that for you.
What do you mean? Yes.
So, instead of, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put the cross inside the glass, but we're asking that it's on the outside.
Señor Jurado, si le puedo explicar un poquito en español.
Sí.
En la ventana, por afuera le ponen una cuadrícula, que son los que llaman mountains. Es el diseño de la ventana. Tiene que estar por afuera para que se vea
El diseño de la ventana.
correcto. Entonces la ventana viene su vidrio y por encima tiene una cuadrícula. Es una cuadrícula que va por encima. Su instalador de ventanas le puede asesorar un poquito más para que se vea como el diseño, pero tienen que estar por afuera, porque usualmente los ponen por dentro de la ventana y eso no lo aprobamos históricamente, tienen que estar por fuera. ¿Sí?
Entonces si hay ventanas así. que se
Sí,
puede
sí hay
poner
ventanas
por
así.
fuera.
Sí, correcto.
Ah, ok.
Y se los pueden...
Pues sí hay, entonces la pido así.
Correcto.
Ah, por fuera. All right. Está muy bien.
All right. Any more
Gracias.
questions for
Gracias. Oh.
the applicant? No? All right. Thank you. Do you want to go ahead and make
Sure.
a motion?
So I motion that the casement windows be replaced with 4/4 sash windows, keeping the look of the historical property, but meeting the operation requirements that the owner is requesting.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Let's see. There's another one. Oh, I did look at the wrong name. It jumped up. All right, item number 4 is 215 West Nevada Avenue in Sunset Heights.
Item number 4 is for a certificate of appropriateness for painting after the fact. This is for 215 West Nevada Avenue, which is in the Sunset Heights Historic District, zoned R4H, residential historic, and it is a contributing property built in 1910. So this is the area. This is what the house used to look like at one point. And if you look closely, I know it looks like it's brick, but it has been painted. So at the time of designation, this house already had a layer of paint on the brick. So at this point, we obviously can't request that they remove the paint or try to mitigate that. At this point, they just have to be constantly maintaining it. Now, as per our guidelines, we never recommend that masonry be painted. That causes all kinds of issues and maintenance that obviously has to be kept up with. So the house was painted white. However, if you take a look at the foundation itself at one point was not painted. So right now that's the main thing that we're looking at. So they are proposing to do some work on this home. This is one of the issues that came up. However, they are willing to work with the Preservation Office. And these are the surrounding properties. So with that said, we're recommending approval with modifications based on the following. From El Paso's design guidelines, preserve the shape, size, materials, and details of character-defining chimneys and foundations and other masonry/stone features. Significant chimney details include features such as brick corbelling, terracotta chimney pots, and decorative caps. Decorative grills and vents, water tables, lattice panels, access doors, and steps are character-defining features of foundations that should be preserved as well. Painting or applying coatings such as cement or stucco to exposed masonry/stone is not appropriate because it will change the historic appearance of the masonry/stone feature and can accelerate deterioration. Previously painted surfaces that were painted prior to designation or with a permit may remain painted. It is not appropriate to paint stucco or spray texture brick, stone, or other historic materials. It is not appropriate to paint brick, stone, copper, bronze, concrete, or cement block surfaces that were historically unpainted. Some structures have foundations which are built of a different material, such as stone, in order to provide a distinguishing character. Exposed rock foundations typically exhibit a rustic finish, which contrasts with the smooth brick walls. This feature should not be covered or plastered to alter its appearance. And from the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize the property shall be avoided. distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved. Chemical or physical treatments such as sandblasting that cause damage to historic materials shall not be used. The surface cleaning of structures, if appropriate, shall be undertaken using the gentlest means possible. And the modifications are that the paint be removed from the foundation only by using the gentlest methods possible, that the work be completed in 60 days, and that no further permits be approved until the property is in compliance.
Great, thank you, Mo. So the painting of the house isn't in question?
No. No, as it was historically painted prior to designation, that's something that we can't really ask them to reverse.
Even if it's a different color?
I mean, we don't have a color analysis, right?
No, we have never had a color analysis.
I'm
But I
just
did
glad
want
they
to point
didn't.
out that if you look at, can you show the before picture? Thank you. Oh, so the chimneys weren't painted. You can see they definitely need a repointing, but they weren't painted. And I've noticed in El Paso, repointing is usually not done, but painting is usually used in its place. So in this case, the compromise is, we know it's going to be a lot of trouble to get out there, remove paint from an unpainted chimney or two. Can you just remove it from the foundation? Can you go to the next one? Because as you can see, the house is blindingly white. There's just,
The fence isn't in question on the porch?
no, we would approve fences on the porch. It's a safety issue.
Okay.
You know, so something like that, we would approve. That's not a big deal. You'd want to see that there. But again, I mean, if you look at the monotone of this house, the white with the gray, it could use a little more color. And again, the compromise is, can you just take the paint off the foundation, and we'll be happy with that.
Maybe paint the shutters?
Yeah, let's ask them to do that too. Yeah,
I didn't even notice the shutters.
Yeah.
that's true.
You
The
can't
shutters,
see 'em.
exactly. You know, you're right. I didn't notice the shutters. It's just all one big splash of white.
It's a
So, yeah.
ghost house. Does anyone have any discussion? Is there a representative available?
I mean, I don't know if we can have a discussion about it, but Commissioner Renteria is correct to point out the distinction between the railing as it was and the new railing. And I'm not sure, but maybe that wooden railing there is more characteristic of the homes around it than the wrought iron railing. I think wrought iron is maybe for like stairway railings or, you know, on the door or whatever, but. Yeah. Also, I'm just glad that they didn't paint the rock wall that faces the sidewalk too.
Mr. Beltran or Valentin Renteria, if you're on the call, press *6 to unmute
Got
yourself.
time on this one. Or we just accept staff recommendation?
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a representative here.
Yeah, I move to accept staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, staff's recommendation is that the paint is removed from the rock foundation. All right. On to the consent agenda. Move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Same.
Okay, we have
Same.
3 abstentions. Does that mean it passes? Okay. All right, it looks like we have a new commissioner. Would you like to introduce yourself? I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself before I came in earlier.
No, that's great. Kurt Clifton, I am with Franklin Mountain Management,
Okay,
downtown here. I'm a certified professional land use planner by original trade and education, and now I handle large-scale project management, construction, governmental issues. cetera, et
Okay.
cetera. I am an Aggie, don't hold that against me, but I did get my MBA from UTEP, so I don't acknowledge that.
What kind of Aggie?
The good kind, NMSU.
Oh, same.
Okay, good for you. Let's see, it's a
Yeah.
good committee.
It's a bunch of Aggies on here.
But thank you.
All right, welcome. Are there any announcements, Proby?
No announcements.
All right, move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, thank you, everyone.